Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. This is a technical webinar showing our new module, LiveDocs. We're going to see what it is, how to build one, etc. So just for starters, let me just give you some information here. First of all, I want to make sure that you can see me and hear me. If not, please use the chat to let us know. You can also use the chat to ask any questions, of course. They will be answered during the webinar and also afterwards. I have with me Shri Never, who is going to answer those questions on the chat. The webinar is recorded, so if you want to go back to anything, you will get the recording afterwards in a few days per email, and we will also post the webinar to our website and on YouTube. All right, so let me introduce myself quickly. I'm the product manager at ClickData. My name is Anna Walter. And as said, I also have Srineve with me on the chat answering your questions. So about the agenda today on this webinar, we are going to explain what a LiveDoc is. Then we will also talk about a few use cases, and then we'll go through a demo to build a LiveDoc together so you can see how it is done. And then we have some time for Q&A. So let's start with the presentation. What is a LiveDoc? So the LiveDoc is a new module that we have launched with our last release in August. And it's a new way to visualize data. It's actually generating documents with live data. That's what it's called, LiveDocs. And when I talk about documents, I mean by that PowerPoints, Excel files, etc. Sorry. So basically, how does it work? It's very simple. You start from a template document that you build on your machine, on your PC. So in this example, for example, it could be a PowerPoint. So you build all the slides that you want with the design that you want and with the content that you want, and you will insert some specific placeholders with a specific syntax, which we will see. And then you will load that template to ClickData, where in ClickData you will be able to create and define macros to fill all of these placeholders with different types of content. It can be formulas, it can be tables. And then when the LiveDoc is generated, it is generated with the data being filled in the placeholders. So it's very simple. And you will see that when we create one together, it's very straightforward. Just to give you a few important reminders about what a LiveDoc is. So it's based on a template. Currently, you can use different types of documents, so PowerPoints, Word documents, and Excels. They all work the same way. And they will compute the data when the LiveDoc is generated. What is a generation? It can be done, for example, manually, or it can be done via a schedule. And at the time that you want, the frequency that you want. The LiveDocs is, as we have with dashboards and reports, they can be shared via live links and they can be shared via email as a attachment to an email. So what does it mean? What is a LiveDoc not? It's not interactive. It's a document that is generated and sent to your users. And it's not a variable format, meaning that it's really your document, your template, which is filled with the data. So that means that the format is set and fixed. Same thing for the length. It's not a variable length. So why I'm telling about that is because I think it's important to understand the difference to the other types of visualizations that we have in ClickData. So we have the reports and the dashboards, which are a bit different. So a report is actually data as well, which is filled when the report is generated. So it's very similar. But a report is more of a list format, and it will have as many pages as there is data. So that's a bit different from the LiveDoc. And a dashboard also has a fixed format, a fixed width and length. But on the contrary, the LiveDoc, the dashboard is actually interactive. So you can interact, you can have filters, you can click on elements, etc., and drill down into data and that sort of interactions. which is not the case for LiveDocs. So let me show you a few examples quickly. We can also see them live afterwards in the platform. So for example, we could have an Excel, which is filled with different formulas and data. That's one example here. We can have a PowerPoint where each slide has different content and also charts, tables. And also here an example with a Word document. As you can see, we have also tables and a chart here. When do we actually use LiveDocs? So some scenarios we can think of. I think, why would you choose a LiveDoc against a report or a dashboard? It's actually when you want a very defined layout, a very specific branding, for example. If you want to create a document that is charted to your company's brand, you have a specific layout you wanna use. That's one case. Also, if you want a very specific document type, so if you want to generate a document in PowerPoint, for example, that's of course the way to go here, using a LiveDoc. The interesting thing with the LiveDoc is that once it's generated, you can actually edit it, of course, because it's just a classic document, PowerPoint or Word document. So that's also one thing to consider. Also, what is a general use case is to actually use LiveDocs when you want to generate the same document format again and again, but each time with different data. And also if you want to generate it at a regular pace. So think, for example, of a weekly presentation that always uses the same format. I have listed a few examples here. For example, if you want to generate presentations for your weekly meetings or your end of month meetings, summaries, etc., LiveDocs can be the right way to go, because you will actually always fill the same templated documents with the new and updated figures. So here are a few examples that you can use, but that you can think of. But of course, there can be many, many more. And how do we share LiveDocs? So LiveDocs have the options that other analytics and visualizations have as well in ClickData. So LiveDocs can be shared via a live link. And also LiveDocs can be shared via a email publishing task in a schedule as an attachment. So it's very similar to what you know of reports and dashboards. And also soon you will be able to actually display them on the homepage of your ClickData account. Now you know what a LiveDoc is, so we are going to look into how to build one. I think that's the interesting part here. You will see it's actually very simple. So let me switch to my desktop. So I have prepared a PowerPoint document here, like that. Right, so I have a document, PowerPoint here with multiple slides. And in some elements, you can see I have added here a placeholder. So the syntax is very simple. It's any kind of word you can think of, with double brackets, double square brackets around it. And you can use any kind of word. So it's really simply text, nothing fancy here. So I have these placeholders here. I have also a table where I put my placeholder in the first cell. I have also prepared an empty chart. This can also be filled with the live data. So to fill that, so we go to the chart design and we go to edit data. And I hope you can see that. It's actually the default table that PowerPoint provides you with when you create a new chart. And I have added the placeholder here, the first cell, exactly like I did with the table in the last slide. And then I also have some other types of formulas. So we will see how to populate those. But basically, it's always the same. It's just text. Okay. All right, so this document here, if I now switch to ClickData, I will go to my file storage. So file storage is is the data lake you have here. Let me show you. This is where you will actually load your templates for your LiveDocs. So I have already loaded it here, but I can do this again. So I'm just gonna fetch my my example here. Here we go. I'm just going to call it live webinar. Oops. So that I don't mess around with the other one. Okay, save it so it's here. And then in my Live Docs menu, Explorer, I should say, here, I can create a new Live Doc. So I have something ready already because I don't want to go through all the steps that I think that's going to be a bit annoying to watch, but I'm going to show you how to create a new one still. So basically, as usual, add new, then you select your templates. So let's use the one we just created, this one. I select. And then here in the macros, you can see that I can define all the macros that I want. So I simply click Add New, and it will give me all the macros that were detected in the documents. So for example, if I choose the owner here, I can decide if that placeholder will be filled with a formula or with a table. Here in this case, I want this to be a formula. So I'm going to go to the Formulas tab here and then enter the formula editor. And in this case, I want to show who created that document. So I'm just going to use this formula. So we have a set of new formulas which are dedicated to Live Docs. And I simply click the plus here. And here we go. So that's me, all good. I save that. And now my macro will be filled with this information. We can already save and preview. So we have an integrated viewer in Qlik Data for all the different document types. So this is what it looks like. So you can see this is what has been filled with my new macro. Just going to show you the original one again. So that's what it is, right? The placeholder called owner was filled with this formula, which retrieves the owner name. And the rest, of course, because I have not defined it, is still as before raw text. All right, so let me now show you the one which is already ready. It's the same thing. It's the same template actually. I will show you all the macros which were done here. So I have the same which we just did before. You can also see that we have a simpler way to put just text if we want, just a regular formula. We can also choose tables. So this piece is interesting. You just choose table and then you get to choose which table you want. You can decide which columns you want to pick. You can decide if there is a header or not. You can sort. You can add the sort direction. You can also limit to a certain number of rows to make sure that it actually fits into your table, and it doesn't overflow, because maybe you just want the top first rows. Who knows? And then you can also add filters, and filters will be as usual based on whatever is in your table. Right, so that's a table, and then we have other things. So one interesting thing as well is that you can use user parameters. In this case, it's the user parameters formula, the same that you can use also in reports and in dashboards. And in this case, it's the name of the company, and it will fill the generated live documents when it's generated. All right, so now let me show you the result of this. So again, we're loading the PowerPoint in the viewer here. So we can see it has been filled with the text, my name, and then with the products from the table. And the chart was filled as well. And then we have the different formulas. So today's date, a data aggregate, which sums some figures in a table, and my company name. Right, so that's one example that you can see. So it's really simple to set up. You can then share this via live links. So for example, I have enabled the live link here. As usual, you can set security or not. It's available right away. And you can share this with your users. So this is a preview. If you want to get the actual PowerPoint, of course, you will have to send it as a document to your users and not via the live link. So the live link also has that same previewer, which we've seen on the app, and which is loading. Okay, sorry, just it takes some time. I think my connection is not the best here. Anyway, so that's one way to share the documents, and the other one is to create a schedule. Let's add a new schedule. For example, I will send this every Monday at a specific time, and then I have my task here, which is sending the live doc. And I can define the macros if I want. I can change them here based on some variables maybe that will only be evaluated at the time when the schedule is sent. And I can choose the recipients as well who will get this live doc. And of course, if you use user parameters, it's the same as for reports and dashboards. Each user will get the live doc with their own user parameter values. All right, just let me show you. I see we have some time. Let me show you a few more examples. So the examples I had in my presentation in the slides are here. So we can see, for example, this is an Excel file which has been filled with some macros. The interesting thing with Excel is that, of course, you can use formulas as well in Excel. I mean, so for example, here I have filled all these elements from my table and from my data in Qlik Data, but this here is then the sum of all of that. So you can combine the power of Excel with the imported data. This here is a generated date, and then we have a table here. Of course, I can download from here. That's something I forgot to show you before. I can download this, and this is going to come as an Excel file, which I can then edit if I want to. Of course, it includes my formula as well. As you can see, I'm summing this up. And all of these fields are filled with the data, so I can, if I want, edit them. Right, so that's one example. Then we have marketing examples here. So that's very similar to the one we just built. It's a PowerPoint template, which has specific layouts, so you can see with colors, etc. We have, again, some formulas which have been filled. We have some data which is coming from the data in my account, and a table here which is filled as well with data from the account. And so that's just a closing file, a closing slide. And then a sales forecast here. That is, again, a PowerPoint, but with a different layout. And we can see that it's also filled with different elements of Qlik Data, also with a chart. So there are many ways to use live docs. Of course, these are just a few examples. Yes, I'm just going to go back to my presentation. So actually, that was it already. So it's, as you can see, super simple. I don't know if there are any questions. I'm happy to answer them now.
Hey, Anna. Yes, we do have a few questions. The first question is the Live Docs module accessible to everyone on Qlik Data?
So currently, the Live Docs module is accessible to the enterprise and dedicated subscription tiers, and as an option to team subscriptions as well. So if you don't see that module in your account currently, maybe it's because it's not included in your subscription. So you can reach out to your account manager to activate it if you're interested.
Awesome, that's great. So if you need access to the Live Docs, just drop us an email to the account manager or sales@qlikdata.com, and we'll have a look at it. The second question I have is there a limit to the number of times a document can be used on a live doc?
No, there's none. You can use the same the same templates with different live docs. So that would make sense. For example, if you want to generate the live docs in different frequencies. Let's think, for example, of a team who would want monthly updates for their sales performance, and another one who would want to see those figures at a weekly pace. So you can actually use the same template, but then just fill it differently based on the schedule. Remember, we could see in the schedule that you could fill the macros at the time of the schedule generation, of the task generation, I would say, in the schedule. So that's probably one way to do exactly what you just said, right? Using one template with different different approaches or different times of filling and different ways of filling the placeholders.
Makes sense. And I think it's a great way. Then they can have one PowerPoint and send it daily, weekly, monthly, just utilizing the same live doc for all the different purposes.
It makes sense if you're using those branded templates of your company. I think it's a nice way to optimize the work and the templates.
Awesome. And a similar question, I think, around the same kind of setup is, can a live doc loop through a data set? So the scenario seems like if someone has multiple clients and each of the client needs to get their own filtered data or a PowerPoint, how that can be set up?
Yeah. So in that case, I would use the user parameters. And that way, each time you actually define the live doc and the content of the live doc, you will use the user parameters to filter down the data. I can maybe show you quickly. So that's something you can do in your macros. Don't know if that makes sense here. We'll see. For example, if you look up a table in which you have all the data for all your clients, in the filters here, you can actually choose you can choose the user parameter that is necessary to filter down your data on your user. And that way you will actually get the generation only for that user. And because that user parameter is then also tied to the recipient of your live docs task in a schedule, each user will get their own generated live doc for them with their data.
Awesome. Yeah. And is there a way if users don't have access to Qlik data, then we can still distribute it to users outside Qlik data?
So yes, but then you could not filter it down on user parameters, obviously, because we wouldn't know how to generate it for each of your users. One thing that is possible to do is to send the live doc to yourself and then to dispatch the live doc to your end users. But that, of course, is less automated than directly through a schedule in Qlik data.
Makes sense. Yeah. So if you need to distribute it to multiple clients, user parameters is the right way to go. At least it's automated. You don't have to do anything, and it will automatically filter the data for that particular client.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I think we have time for one more question. In terms of the future developments on live docs, is there a plan to have Google Sheets, Google Slides, or Google Word as an additional development?
Yeah, so it's definitely on the backlog. We haven't investigated yet if it's at all doable, because it's a bit different, right? You don't in the case of the documents from the MS documents, you actually load them to Qlik data. In the case of Google Sheets, it's actually a sheet which is online, but I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do that. It's definitely something we're looking into, because we know that a lot of our users are actually very keen on using Google Slides and Google Sheets. So it's definitely something we want to make happen. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah, I think everyone will look forward for that development. Thanks a lot, Anna, for presenting the Live Docs module. I think it's definitely an interesting module so that you can automate some of the Excel, PowerPoint, and Word documents that you create on a regular basis. This should help automate all of that.
Yeah, definitely. And if you have any questions, if you are trying the Live Docs out, please reach out. We're always happy to help you. And we also have a video coming out in a few days, one of our Back to the Features series on YouTube to present the module. So have a look. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Shri, for the moderation. And I wish you all a pleasant evening and a pleasant day.